Wow, what an interview. I just wrapped up an interview with Rodolfo Vargas. He's the business partner of Patrick Bet-David and the co-founder of PHP, the insurance agency they have together. So I got connected with him through Mario Aguilar, who is the right hand of Patrick Bet-David. And I feel so blessed for all these guys to help me. A few weeks ago, I knew who they are, but I was not connected with them. So thank God I connected with them, and they have been so helpful, and I'm really grateful for them and everything they do for me. So we wrapped up an amazing interview just right few seconds ago with Rodolfo. He talked about everything, how he came from El Salvador a few decades ago now, and he couldn't speak a word of English, started working as a security job, and ended up becoming Patrick Bet-David's business partner, and then building with him this agency, which is one of the most decorated agencies in the US. So this is a no-brainer that you guys have to watch and listen to this. And I hope and I know you enjoy the show. Like always, please support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing the show with other immigrant entrepreneurs who need to listen to these interviews. Thank you and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Immigrant Entrepreneurs Show, where our mission is to inspire, impact, and influence other immigrant entrepreneurs. My guest today is the co-founder of PHP Agency and an immigrant entrepreneur himself, all the way from El Salvador. Welcome to the show, Rodolfo Vargas.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Likewise. I'm really excited to have you on, and I can't wait for our conversation to go to all the places that we're going to go to on this conversation. So, Rodolfo, you're obviously an immigrant from El Salvador. When did you come to the U.S., my friend?
Coming to the U.S. 2006. El Salvador is. I went to school over there. Love my country. My mom is from a place called Chalatenango. My dad is from a place called Santa Ana. I grew up in Santa Ana, and I was born in Santa Ana, place El Salvador, and grew up in San Salvador, which is the capital. And I loved it. And for some particular reasons, my parents immigrated to the U.S. Looking for a better future, right? For me, my brother, my two sisters, have a sister that has special needs, my older sister. So my parents always wanted to give the best to my older sister because she's special needs. And so my parents came first with my sister and my younger sister and my younger brother. I stayed there in El Salvador because I was finishing the university. I finished university, became an economist, came into the US already when I was 22 years old. Had a degree, but then I found out, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go over there I went to Los Angeles. I'm gonna work in the best places because I had a degree. It didn't work like that, and it was tough. It was difficult, and I never thought that. We always dream. As an immigrant, we think, oh, if I go to a new place, we're gonna find money in the streets. You know what I mean? Or like my friend used to tell me, right? Hey, there is a street that grows over there in the U.S. that instead of give you leaves, they give you dollar bills, $100 bills, and it wasn't like that. And it was a time that I thought about coming back to El Salvador, and because it was hard. But I came into the U.S. I was 22 years old, 2006, and I'm looking for a better future.
Awesome. So what was life when you came here? Would you speak English like you do today, fluent, and everything was fine and you could communicate, or what was it like?
Zero. So here's the thing with the English. So in El Salvador, I received classes, right? I went to school and I received classes in English, and I thought I knew English. I thought I knew because over there, when you're in your countries, you're learning, right? You're learning the verbs, you're learning how to conjugate the verbs. And I came over here into the US and, oh my gosh, I don't understand anything that what people are saying. And I couldn't understand anything didn't speak English. I could kind of write it, but I didn't know exactly. I couldn't understand people. I couldn't communicate, and that's
Mm,
frustrating because knowing a language that is a foreign language. I know you're from Iran, and
mhm,
you're also an immigrant yourself. Is and This is for all the immigrants, right? We're not dumb. You know what I
mhm,
mean? We're not dumb. We're
mhm,
not dumb. We know we grew up, but people think we're dumb because we don't speak their language, and they're communicating to us, and we don't understand. Say, oh my
mhm,
gosh, what do you say? What can you repeat it, please?
mhm,
I don't understand what they're saying. I remember when I came, I went and asked for jobs, right? And I used to come with my resume, right? Let's just say I have my resume here, and I tell them, hey man, I'm an economist. I went to school, and people used to laugh at me. And I said,
mhm,
really, like you, like what do you know? Do you know that degree that you have over there counts zero over here? We cannot use it. And I remember going applying for jobs, and this guy told me, I had this friend because I'm learning English. I'm going to school to learn English in here. Um, and this buddy of mine, who's also an immigrant from the Philippines, we're receiving classes together. And while we were receiving classes, he said, Rodolfo, I know you're looking for a job. I'm going to go looking for a job. But the best place to look for jobs is the mall. We should go to the mall. And why the mall? Because in the mall, you have more opportunities, right? So we go with that resume. My resume has nothing, okay? Doesn't make any sense. So I go to the mall, and I'm going to every single store applying for a job. And I remember going to Macy's, going to Kmart. I remember going to Target, going to Walmart. I even remember my mom told me, Rodolfo, my dream is for you to work in Costco. Costco, if you're for different places, this is this big store. And I say,
mhm,
Mom, I don't want to work at Costco. And my mom says, you need to work over here because over there, because they offer benefits, health insurance
mhm,
and life insurance and retirement. So I apply at them. They told me no. I apply at Walmart. Walmart say no. And I go to the mall, that place, with my Filipino friend who's also an immigrant like me, and him and we got a Java Sears, and we got a Java Sears, and if you see me and him, uh, we're short, and we make fun of it because when people get to know me and say, "Man, Rodolfo, you're kind of short." Yes, I am, and I'm what, like 5'6", five, I don't know, maybe in a good
mhm,
day 5'7", right?
mhm.
And I applied for a Java Sears, and they hired me as a security guard. So I used to work as a security guard. I did that for a couple years, and I don't know if you have watched a movie, The Mocap. Have you watched Mocap movie
No,
or
I
no?
haven't. No.
So you need to watch it, okay? And so I used to be a mocap working at Sears,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was hard. It was difficulty, and because now we make fun of it, like we can
Right,
laugh about it, but at
right.
that time was,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, you know, what was my fear, my greatest fear when I was an immigrant and finding a job,
Tell me.
uh, working at McDonald's. But the
Oh,
working at
wow.
McDonald's was not because I didn't want it to work at McDonald's. I didn't want it to work with the, how you call it when you have the thing with the earpiece, and you're
Right,
communicating, because you go to a Starbucks, you see the guy communicating
right,
here,
right.
talking to the person, but he's
Right.
talking to the person in front of the car. So I didn't want it to apply at McDonald's, because if I was wondering, what if they put me over there to work at the window, and
Mm,
I wouldn't be able to understand people.
mm.
So
Oh,
yes,
wow.
a lot of issues with the English.
Wow.
I thought I knew. I didn't know anything. Couldn't understand anybody.
Wow. Wow. That makes you, that also, I believe that makes you feel like you're second class society,
That's right.
because these people speak fluently English, they do that. Now you're here, you're like, hey, I don't speak, I cannot communicate, as you said yourself, with anyone. Now I feel they're above me,
That's right.
you
That's right.
know?
So one day, I the story goes, and I met Patrick David. He became my mentor, my coach, and one day he told me to get involved in insurance. Right. So I started learning from him. Right. This is years later, after I was working at Sears. Right. And because my English is not good, I'm asking Patrick, how am I gonna do it? I don't even understand Patrick what he's saying, because he's also an immigrant from Iran. Like, he told me a dream. I told the story later how he inspired me that day for me to do what I do with him, or start working
Hmm.
with him. But I remember going, And I go and talk to this other person in the company. And I said, you know what? Oh my gosh, I don't know how am I gonna do it because I don't speak in English. And I have this thick accent. You know what? What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna only sell in Spanish. That's what I told this other guy. I'm only gonna sell in Spanish, and I'm gonna be the Spanish. I'm gonna be the Spanish leader over here in the company, right? I'm gonna only sell to Spanish people. So here's the two answers to that. So this guy tells me, "What a great idea, Rodolfo! That's phenomenal, man. Yes, you're gonna sell to only people in Spanish, and you speak so good Spanish, so fluent, you're gonna become so successful only selling to the people in Spanish." And I was like, I felt good when he told me that. I felt like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then I go talk to Patrick, right? And I said to Patrick, "Hey Patrick, you know what? I spoke with this other guy, and he told me that I only gonna sell in Spanish. So from now on, I'm only gonna sell in Spanish." And Patrick said, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Listen, Rodolfo, you're a big thinker or a small thinker? I'm a big thinker. So guess what? You need to learn English. That's fine that you want to sell to Spanish, but you live in America. You need to learn English." And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you really telling me that? Yes. And from now on, you need to speak English. And I'm going to tell you, at that time, I felt bad. I felt like, oh my gosh, he's telling me to improve. That's what he was telling me. He was telling me, hey, you need to improve, Rodolfo. You don't stay behind. And he knew about it. He knew about it. He knew that he you know what's the good thing about having a coach, a mentor? He never felt sorry for me. Never. So I
They
don't feel
push
sorry.
you.
He
They
pushed me.
push you.
You know, so oh, poor guy. Oh, poor immigrant. Poor this. Oh my gosh, you don't know. Oh
Right,
my
right.
gosh, how am I gonna do it? Oh my gosh, you're poor thing. No, I'm not poor. I wanna win. I wanna win, and I'm willing to make an effort. So even though I have a thick accent, even though I didn't know how to speak it properly, even though I still make mistakes, I speak in front of thousands of people now with my accent. And I do both. I do Spanish and I do in English. But he gave me a lesson that day. You know what I like about that lesson that Patrick gave me is don't feel sorry about yourself, and you can learn. Oh, what a lesson! And I'm telling you, he's very important for everybody listening to this. It's like don't feel like poor. Don't feel like we were broke, we were poor, but we're not poor babies. You know what I mean? We're
Right,
strong. We can learn, and we're thick.
right.
You know, immigrants. We're like we left our countries. We left our families. We left people that we love for a better future. So we are strong. So that's the lesson that I left from him.
I love that. And you know what? I always keep reminding myself, there is always somebody out there who has less possibilities, less opportunities than you and I have, and is making more out of it, is going for it, is pushing harder, is working harder, is working smarter, you know? So what is my excuse? If they have no excuse being being in a worse position than me, then what is my excuse to not go after?
That's right. This
You know?
lady, this lady over here in the office. We have an office that run thousands of agents that I supervise. I have about 30 offices, 30 insurance offices that I supervise. And this lady comes over here one day, and she's the number one salesperson that week. Sold the most policies. She's killing it. She's doing a great job, right? And I told her, I want you to tell everybody your story. And she stood up and she tells, hey, you know what? I'm also an immigrant. She started telling her story, right? And everybody started crying. Everybody started crying. And you know why everybody started crying? Because she tells the story. Because as you can see with me, she's missing one leg. This is beautiful lady, beautiful soul lady. And she has no leg. She has no one leg. She has only one leg. She's amputee. And she tells everybody, guys, what's your excuse? That's not my excuse. You know what? I have no leg. You don't know what I've been going through my life. And she's also given an accent because she's also an immigrant. And I became the number one. Everybody's in tears over here in the office. So yeah, you're right. What's the excuse, right?
Wow.
What's that excuse?
Absolutely. So, brother, tell me, you're working at Sears, hustling through life, making a little money. surviving, keeping your head above the water, and then you meet Patrick Bet David.
Yep.
Tell
Yep.
me more about that. How did
So
that happen?
so randomly, as my mom told me to go to this meeting, right? My mom was the one that told me. My dad and my mom, they go to a meeting first, and they like it, but they didn't understand it. And if I don't speak in English, imagine my parents, right?
Right.
So my parents is they say, I think that you should go, Rodolfo. I go to a meeting. I'm 24. I'm 25 years old, 24, 25. I go to the meeting, right? And I meet Patrick. He does the presentation. Everything is great, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. This is not. I don't see myself selling. I don't see myself as an entrepreneur. Because
Mm.
basically, yeah, we call it entrepreneur, but at the beginning, you're not an entrepreneur. At the beginning, you need to learn how to sell. No,
Right. Right.
learn how to sell. And I'm thinking in my mind, who's gonna buy a policy from me? Like really, my
Mm.
mom. By the way, my mom is not even gonna buy a policy from me.
Mm.
Okay? And FYI, my mom never bought a policy from me. The only policy my mom buys is when I pay for it. Okay,
Right.
and but I go there. I go to the meeting. Patrick's young. Patrick's probably 29, 30 years old. Okay, and here's the only thing that it blew my mind what he did. Okay, yeah, he's killing it, and he's very successful at that time already at 29. Guys, people need to know that Patrick David at 29, 30, he was already very successful.
Mm.
What I mean is probably not at the level financially, but his mind, he was
Mm.
already there. You guys need to, everybody in the world needs to know, and I'm not make sure that everybody knows that he was already a visionary
Mm.
way before 30 years old. He
Wow.
always think big, and he always think big. There is no question about it.
Mm.
So, but that didn't impress me. I mean, I saw him like hey, this guy's the new Steve Jobs of the insurance industry. This guy is gonna be like you can smell it. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the only reason why I say yes that day. He says, "You see that guy over there? You see that guy? Can you please stand up?" He says his name, right? The guy stood up. His name is Gabriel. "Hey, sir, can you please stand up?" And he says to that guy, "You're never gonna have to worry about working. You're never
Mm.
gonna have to work anymore in 99-cent store. Forever, you retire."
Wow.
And that guy over there is my dad. He said that. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And in my mind is, I want to do that for my family. I want to do that for my dad. I want to do that for my mom.
Mm.
And so that gave me like a purpose, because a lot of people say, "What do you want to do?" I always want to help my family, but it was not like a real defining moment that I said, "You know what? I want to experience that. I want to tell my dad and my mom in front of thousands of people, you're never gonna have to worry anymore." And your son over here, your son Rodolfo will forever take care of you. The house that you live, you're never gonna have to worry about it. The next bill that you have, you're never gonna have to worry about it. And that was the beginning of for me going to that level. That I wanted to make certain amount of money for me to be able to help my parents.
Wow. I'm getting chills, bro. And there is only a few moments when I'm really speechless, but you made me speechless. So that was the moment that you're like, hey, I'm going after it. Was it like this?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
You never saw you can tell a lot from the eyes from somebody, right? The eyes.
Hmm.
There are songs, right? The eye of the tiger or whatever, right?
Right.
My eyes changed that day. I'm never
Wow.
gonna be the same. I never. It's the level of focus that I got from that moment was different, and I wanted to win.
Hmm.
And then I started working with him, I was not good. I was probably Patrick does an interview with somebody. He says my worst salesperson that I have ever recruited. His name is Rodolfo Vargas.
Wow.
But he became the top earner, and last month we paid him this amount of money, right? So,
So how did that happen?
so there is nothing bigger than this concept of self improvement or self development. There is nothing bigger. By the way, similar to what you're doing. By the way, this is what you're doing. It's a great model and a great system for you to help others to self develop. That's what you're doing. So
Thank
you
you.
are helping the self-development of all these immigrants entrepreneurs. There is nothing bigger than self-development. And self-development is not about, oh, you need to read books about, yeah, you need to read books about motivation, self-improvement. Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I see self-improvement as a way for me to increase my imagination. So we as an immigrants, we have a certain way to see the world. Myself, right? I grew up in El Salvador. El Salvador is very small. And because it's very small, we live in this environment that we never see in other places. Like I've never been in Iran. Like I've never been in other places. I've never been in other. You expand your mind. So the way that you start expanding your mind and thinking bigger is by reading stories from other successful entrepreneurs. So I started reading. I'm not only started reading books about how to influence and influence. Yeah, all these books that everybody knows, right? Motivational, how to influence and influence, magical thinking big, thinking growth. Just cool though. But what I started reading biographies from people. I started reading biographies from other people. And I read this guy. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that about Jeff Bezos. I didn't know about Elon Musk. Oh my gosh, I didn't know about Elon Musk. He grew up in South Africa, and his dad was like this, and his brother was like this, and he came to Canada. Then he came into the US, and he started developing. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I didn't know about the Vanderbilts. I didn't know about Aristotle Onassis. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this other guy. So I started reading all these biographies from other people. And I find out that many of them, they were also immigrants. And so for me, the way of improving is a self-development by you learning from others. You read the biography of Warren Buffett. And you know, oh my gosh, how this guy started so young. Investing. How this other guy, and he had a guy named Charlie Mongers close to him. He was his best friend, and he developed this together. And you learn about this. So that's what I started doing. I started developing myself by reading and increasing my imagination, thinking, like you said at the beginning. You said it, Ali. If they can do it with all these excuses, I can do it. Why not? They had it more difficult. Probably it's, oh my, you start reading about this guy went to World War I and World War II, and this guy loses his legs. This guy had an incapacity. He couldn't speak. This guy was deaf. This guy was in a wheelchair. This guy was old. This guy was young. So I started reading about all these guys, and I started thinking, why not us? Why not you? Why not me? Why not me? What's the difference between them? So reading, self-improvement, self-development play a big part of this change.
Are you also saying, because I totally believe in changing our identity, when we go a level higher, we cannot stick to the old version of who I was, right? If I want to go to the next level, now I need also to absolutely self-develop and everything, but I also need to change my identity. When I say identity, I don't mean like, throwing over my values and everything, keeping those, but also now thinking differently, now becoming the person who can deal, who can make deals, who can talk to CEOs, who can talk to other business owners. What do you think about that?
Powerful. Identity is everything. The way that we see ourselves. There was a book called, maybe you heard about this book, but by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. And he was a surgeon. So he's a surgeon, and the way that he used to operate, he used to plastic surgeon, and he used to operate for people that they went to war. So probably they used to work and they come with a scar. They come with this. They lose a limb, or maybe their face, their nose, and everything. And he find out by him fixing something in their face, something that they thought there was a something bad, or they look at bad. By them fixing it, they used to change their identity. So he started studying about this powerful thing that we have in ourselves, that is an identity. In identity is just the way that you see yourself. The way that you see yourself. Do you see yourself as somebody valuable? Do you see somebody deserving? Do you see yourself as somebody who's a winner? Do you constantly see yourself as somebody who's improving? Psycho-cybernetics helps me a lot. It's a phenomenal book. It's an old book. It's an old book in self-development. And there is another book that helped me a lot on my identity. And there is another book called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. So this doctor, he writes this book called Power versus Force. When he mentioned the levels of a consciousness that we all have, and that levels of consciousness help us with to have a good identity or have a bad identity. Or in his book, the way that he explained it is to do things with force, like you're always forcing, right? Always forcing, always wanted to. And there is other people that do it with power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you see yourself as somebody that has guilt, that's a low level of consciousness. Somebody who's ashamed, it's a low level of consciousness. And they start telling you fear, hate, all this kind of stuff. And it goes to the higher levels. And and it starts with courage, neutrality, enlightenment, and it goes love and all these levels, right, that I had. Courage. You have the courage to become a better person. Or like Jordan Peterson called it, like you have the courage to do something good today. You have the courage to make your bed. You have the courage to clean your room. So that courage, it goes to the next level. So identity, of course I needed to change my identity. Of course I needed to change my identity. And we all do. We're constantly changing, right? How do we see ourselves? Do we see ourselves like somebody who's successful? Do we see ourselves somebody who's a winner? Do we see ourselves somebody who's supposed to be broke and poor?
Right.
Your identity will decide that.
Right.
Makes sense?
So true. Do we see ourselves as somebody who is a victim and always self-victimizing himself and feeling sorry for themselves? Of course you're not going to become successful if you think like that of yourself.
The victim mentality. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Rodolfo, tell us about, so you start with PBD with Patrick, and then what does the agency, what does the business look like when you joined, and how did everything evolved from there?
I'm going to give you the story since it's related to also identity. When I got started in business, I didn't know how to do it. And but I started improving, right? And I remember it was a year, something new, right? And I make $40,000, not a month, okay, not a week, in a year, okay, in a year, okay. And believe it or not, I was happy. I was happy. And you're not gonna believe it, right? So now I make millions of dollars, probably millions of dollars. Okay, I'm not gonna go there right now. But by the way, this year probably we're gonna do in top line revenue couple millions of dollars. Okay, but we'll start like this. I make $40,000 a year. You know how much I make the next year? People they always tell me, "Oh, you make 80, you make 200." Man, Rodolfo, like really, how much you want to know how much I make? I make $41,000. So I make 40,000. The next year I make $41,000. And the question is why? Well, I was happy. You know why? And here's for all the immigrants entrepreneurs. In my mind, first of all, I was making more money than all my friends that I had over there in my country. 40,000. Because I call them, hey, how much money are you making? Oh, I'm making $3,000 a month. I'm killing it. Because in El Salvador, the income, right? Hey, you got a job, you make 3,000. Oh, wow, you make 3,000. That's awesome.
You made it.
You made it. Living at home, you're driving a car. So I was happy. So my identity, even though I was in a good opportunity type of place, a land of opportunity, right? They want to call it like that. Whatever it is, you can make the land of opportunity wherever you are. But I was, for a situation of my life, I was living in the U.S. and I make $40,000, and I was happy. I was making as much money. Nobody in my family has ever made that kind of money. So the next year, I made 41,000, and so I had an issue with my identity. My identity was the issue. My thermostat, my income was like that. So I needed to change my identity. So then I went to from 40, I saw my identity. Why do I have this identity? Then I went to 100, then 200, then half a million, then a million, 2 million. I was the first immigrant to ever make a couple $1 million working directly with PHP David a year. But yeah, we started like that. It was hard. It was difficult. I used to go to meetings. I was afraid, if you're in
Mm.
sales, I was afraid of making phone calls.
Wow.
I was afraid of making phone calls because I used to make phone calls and people said, "What did you say? Oh my gosh, I don't understand. Whatever you're saying," they used to hang out. They hang up. And I hated that. I hated that. But I learned how to make phone calls. I learned how to deal with rejection. They have a thicker skin and become a thick skin and stop being, like you said, a victim.
Mm.
Uh, and we grew the company.
Mm. I love that. I love that. Rodolfo, what was and still is your driver? If it was something else back then, and if it's the same thing, what is your driver that keeps you pushing through and doing all the things that you do?
Yeah, no, it's not the same. It changes. It varies. It varies. It's been an evolving transformation. It's been a transformation. Um, uh, uh, so there are different drivers, right? The beginning was, can I survive? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Can I survive? Can I make money? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I make $100,000 a year? Can I survive? Can I buy my own house? Can I have my first car? Can I have two cars? Can I live? Can I go to a nice restaurant? That was the first surviving, because basically I didn't have money to go to any restaurants and I couldn't buy gas for the car. I couldn't afford to have any car and I didn't have anything. And I used to live in an apartment paying $600 a month. At that time was not a good place where I was living in LA. So that is, believe me, it's not a good place to live. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Over there in Los Angeles with that price. So then I came out, right? So I started breathing, right? So I survived.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next level was maybe status, right? I remember I got my first home. You know what I mean? I became a status. It's like you going to nice restaurants. I got my first Lamborghini. Then I
Mm-hmm.
bought my second Ferrari, and then oh my gosh, and then and I drive in the Ferrari, and it's so awesome, right? You go to this place in the restaurant stop, and you get the second Rolex. You get the first Rolex Presidential, and then you said, "Oh my gosh, now I want the Sky Dweller, Then I want another one, maybe Patek Philippe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can get this something nicer." And then status comes, right? And maybe I can get this suit, right? This suit, so nice. This suit, oh, you start wearing a $2,000 suit, and you buy these shoes. You know what I mean? It's so awesome. It's a status, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the second level. And believe it or not, most people stop at status,
Mm-hmm.
right? Most people stop over there because it's cool, it's nice. It's like, I mean, and you can afford, you can travel, you can go to Dubai, you can go to Monaco and have dinner in Le Louis. You know what I mean? And we go with Patrick to Monaco, and we have dinner in the best restaurant, 3 Michelin star. And then 2 weeks later, we're in New York and watching the Yankees, or we go and have dinner in 11 Madison Park, and we're eating some duck, whatever it is, right? I'm just
Mm-hmm.
giving you stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the status. Most people stop there because life is good, life is comfortable, and but that's not there is a third level, and it's independence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people have a status, but they have to keep working, they have to keep
Mm-hmm.
developing, and that's okay. That's independence. That's the third level. But if you ask me for driving, there is a fourth level, and it's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Is okay, like what you're doing. Hey, you know what? You don't have to do this. You don't make money by me doing a video for you. I don't make money for doing a
Mm-hmm.
video. It's like, hey, what do we do? How can we help others? What can we do that is different? How can we bless others? And how can we leave a legacy? I have kids. I have three boys. I have a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 10-month-old. And I look at them and I said, how can I be? How can I be the best father? I want my kids to see me working. I don't want my
Mm-hmm.
kids to see me at home sleeping in until 11. I want my
Mm-hmm.
boys to see, man, my dad works.
Mm-hmm.
My dad hustle. My dad is a boss. My dad is this. I want my kids to see that. So, so that's my driver.
Mm-hmm.
I dream about doing some crazy stuff for certain countries. Coming back and for me it's my country, El Salvador, but I might do in other places too. Come back and tell the story. Why do we become one of the most influential immigrants like you? Like and we do
Mm.
something crazy for the world. We do this community where have Patrick created the valuetainment. We do this community, big community for immigrants, and we reunion. We do meetings, and we strategize together, and we create these ideas and these benefits on this vision for these other immigrants that are going to different places in the world. And we give them tips and everything. We help them to become better entrepreneurs. I don't know, that might happen.
Mm.
So that's my driver. That's my driver.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, brother. And one thing that when I'm listening to you, when you say legacy and it's giving back, I mean, the main driver that made me decide to do what I'm doing with immigrant entrepreneurs is to tell other people, to bring people like yourself, like very successful people like yourself on the show, and let other immigrant entrepreneurs know, hey, this guy's he's like one of you. He didn't come from the moon and landed here, and no, he has skin, and he came with no super skills to this country, and he worked his way up. He built it himself, so this is my mission, to show other people, if they did it, you can do it as well.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know so I want to know about your relationship with money, because we get oftentimes to think that money is good, but we don't talk about the relationship that we need to have with money as immigrants, because sometimes the way, also culturally, the way we grow up in a different country is told us, hey, I don't know, money is only for those, for the elite. It's not for you and I, if you're not born to money. So tell me more about that, and how you see that.
Yeah, we have this connotation about money, eh, that we have it from the past, right? And this is
Mm,
not the fault of our parents. It's just the way it is, right? But I remember I'm in El Salvador, and I'm 8, 9 years old, and for some reason I see this red Corvette, probably the only Corvette that they had over there, and I see this red Corvette, and I told my mom and my dad, they were driving, and I said, "Oh my gosh, look at that car! Look at that car! Look at that car! I want to have a car like that. I want to have a car like that." And I remember my mom saying in Espanol, she said, "Se vale soñar." You know what I mean? Yeah, like "se vale soñar" means keep dreaming. That car is not
mm,
for us. That car is only for rich people.
mm.
Hmm. Interesting.
Wow.
We grew up one day. I remember the age. Probably was like also like 8, 9 years old, and I'm playing with money. Playing with money, like I get some dollar bills. I found out over there, and I'm playing with the money. And hey, why are you doing that with that? Why are you playing with the
Mm.
money? Money's dirty. Money's dirty.
All right, Rodolfo, let me tell them what happened.
Yes.
Guys, we ran into some technical issues, and we were actually recording the second part of the podcast a few days later. That's why Rodolfo and I look different, or dressed different. Well, we don't look different. We're just dressed
The
differently.
same. We're some pounds less because we're losing weight. That's what we're. That's what we're at right now.
Exactly. So we're back. We're recording, and the question I have for you, Rodolfo, is, what was your relationship with money when you grew up?
Well, and this is something that we might mess up in the future, right? Because we have all these stories about money that we have when we were young. And I was telling you the story, Ali, about when I was a kid. I don't remember exactly the age, maybe 8, 9 years old. I saw for the first time a Corvette, a red Corvette in El Salvador, where I'm from. And I see it, and I told my dad, my mom, my dad is driving, my mom is there, and I tell him, one day I'm gonna have a car like that. And they tell me, No. I mean, Rodolfo, only crooks have cars like that. Or they told me also, se vale soñar, what it means, yeah, it's okay to dream. It's okay to dream.
Mm.
So for me was, oh my gosh, I'm not a bad person. I don't wanna be a bad person. I don't wanna be a crook. I don't wanna be a bad person. And the other part is it was just a dream. Like we're not like that. We're not like the people who are getting those cars. Those people are different, not like us. And for me was, the question is not, can I get it? Can I get the stuff? The question is, how can I get it?
Mm.
The other story I have when I was a kid is, sometimes you bring money, right? And I'm looking at this bill. You're looking at coins. You're looking at money, and I'm admiring the dollar bill. And that time I'm admiring, for the first time I'm looking at a dollar bill, and I'm playing with it, and I'm watching, and I'm touching it, and I'm watching it, and I remember my mom telling me, Rodolfo, don't play with money because money is dirty. Money
Wow.
is dirty. So guess what? Growing up, I want to be a
Mm.
clean person. I want to be a clean kid. So I don't want to be touching the
Mm.
bills. I don't want to be playing with the money. So those are the mindset that we have. Is like a really only rich people can have it. Only crooks can
Mm.
have the money. Bad people get the money. Really? Is money dirty? It's actually money dirty. That we're not supposed to have money because money is dirty, and we have all these preconceived notions or ideas about money that affect us in the future, and we have it growing up. Now, it's not a parent's fault. It's not a parent's fault. It's the story that we tell ourselves. And how did I fix it? I'm still working on that. Is first of all, you need to forgive your parents. They are not that. You need to they did the best that they have with the knowledge that they have. And I need to remind myself, well, my mom grew up very poor. My
Mm.
dad grew up very poor. My dad had shoes until he was like 12 or 13 years old. And they have to work. My mom died when she was 12. And my grandma died from my mom's side, died when she was 12. And my mom had to grow up very fast, and she had to
Mm.
work since she was 10 years old. So all this stuff that we have, we need to, it's not their fault. They did the best with what they have.
Mm.
So it's our job to change the story. It's a job to change the story about money. So deep inside of us, we have all these preconceived notions. Money is the root of all evil. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's religion, spiritual. Sometimes maybe you had a pastor, a preacher, or somebody that told you something about money that confuses you. Sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's a teacher, and sometimes somebody with authority that told us something, a definition,
Mm.
and it's our job to change the story.
Mm. So
By the
how
way, I
do you
can talk
change
about
that?
this for hours, Ali. I
I
can talk
know,
about money
man. I
for
know, man.
hours.
Tell me, how did you fix it? How
Um,
did you fix your broken relationship with money?
um, it's a process. It's a process. Is you need to. We all need to learn to question our stories, and we
Mm.
need to question our beliefs. Right? We need to question our beliefs. Do really money is dirty? Do really money is dirty? Do really only crooks people make money, or there is some good people who make money? So is it like is money the root of all evil? Religion, right? Is spiritual. Hey, money's bad. Money's bad. So I go to church, right? And this I have this preconceived notion about money.
Mm.
And I'm Catholic. So and I grew up, and I have these preachers, these priests that told me money was bad. And here's oh, money's bad. Oh my gosh, you shouldn't be asking wanting money, right? And I go to church, and I question, and every time I go to church, in the middle of mass, or the middle of the middle, guess what they pass? They pass the, we call it collection,
To
right?
pay. To pay.
So you're telling me money is bad, but you
But I
want me
should
to
give
give
it
you
to
money?
you.
Huh? Say
But
that
I
again?
should give it to you.
Yeah, and they're asking me for money. And then we bring money to the altar. Are you kidding me? So money is not bad. So all you start questioning. So money was to be bad. But why are they asking for money to bring it to the altar? Money
I
is
love
not
that.
dirty. Money is not bad, right? To make the
Mm.
church any money, to make the Bibles any money, Everything that the priest or the pastor, they use it to do that, all the good stuff. They need money to do it. So money is not bad. Money is not bad. It's the way that we use it. It's a tool. Money is a tool. We have these preconceived notions, whether it's spiritual teachers. Teachers. I grew up in El Salvador, where El Salvador went through a war, 12-year war, between around 1980 to 1992. Okay, so I grew up on the war, and the war was the Communist Party was Communist Party is called FMLN. That was what they used to call it, like communist. I'm talking about hardcore Che Guevara,
Wow.
Nicaragua, Cuban. This is hardcore left. Okay, this is not like this is not like a hidden. No. This is like, hey, Che Guevara. We believe in that. That's the Communist Party against the military.
Wow.
The military, and there were people dying, people killing. 12-year-old wars. I know that you're from Iran, right? So you guys, the war is a little, for us. The war was a very different type of war.
It
But
was
12
kind of a
years,
civil war, right?
civil war. We had a civil
Yeah.
war.
Yeah.
But for the wars for ideologies, okay, this ideology wars, and the rich or the people with power, in taking advantage of the farmers. So it was very complicated. But for 12 years, civil war in El Salvador. There are movies about it. You can. So I grew up with that. So I had teachers that were full core a communist,
Wow.
full core, and they will teach you, hey, and they will teach you in the class, hey, rich people are bad. They're always taking advantage of you. You need to. And I find out. Okay, so here's what happened later in the country. So the Communist Party, there was a time that became the power in the country. Guess what they started doing? Now they became the power. Then they have the money. They started exploding the poor people.
Wow.
So it's a very complicated. I had teachers, politicians, family members, religion, all of that stuff affect us with a relationship with money. But money is just a tool. Money is a tool. Money is a way that the more you have, the more options you have, and it will also expand who you are. So if somebody's a bad person, that person makes money. That person becomes a bad person with money. That person is a good person. That person becomes a good person with money. That person is a spiritual person. That person becomes a spiritual person with money. So money expands what you already are. If you're greedy, somebody's greedy, that person is greedy, poor, and that person is greedy with money. That has nothing to do with it. Just money expanded. That person becomes more greedy, having the money. If some person loves to help, that person with money will help more people.
Absolutely. And there are good people with money and bad people with money,
And guess what? There is poor people who are really bad too.
Right.
And there's poor people who are really good. But there are some poor
100%.
people who are really, really bad. Yeah, you're right. Both, one thing has nothing to do with the other one. One thing has nothing to
Absolutely.
do with the other. Just the other person is a poor person that is bad. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves is, how can I accumulate money? Am I in an environment that I can accumulate money, or am I in a place where I can become I can improve? And this is the best definitions that I heard from somebody about money. I said, don't chase the money. Chase the money will come. He will always say money will come, but money, don't chase a million. Don't change it to million. Don't change it 10 million. Don't change 100 million or the billion. Chase the person that you will become by making $1 million. Chase the person that you will become by becoming a billionaire, because you need to have skills in order to make. I remember the first time I make $1 million a year, and I went in and I said, well, I made $1 million. Okay, that was awesome. But how did I do it? I had to bring up value to the society. And I bring more value. The person that makes $1 million in income brought more value than the person that makes 100,000.
Mhm.
And the person that makes $1 billion, that person brings more value to the society. We all have this phone, right? And we can criticize, oh my God, Apple make this money. Yeah, but they're bringing a solution. They brought a solution to somebody. They they brought value to the consumer. So the more value you bring, the more money you make. You should be compensated the more value you bring, and that's what the market pays. The market will pay to people who brings most value.
100%. Money is a form of energy for solving problems. You get money for solving a problem in
That's
one
right.
way or another, right? You
That's
solve a
right.
big problem, you solve $1 billion problem, you get $1 billion in exchange of this energy. You know, you solve a small problem, you get a couple of dollars for it. It's
Yeah.
nothing else than energy,
Yeah. And don't feel guilty for it.
right?
That was something that another place that maybe some immigrants we have to go through. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have somebody that make us feel guilty
Mm-hmm.
for making money. Don't ever feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you feel guilty, will bring always punishment. Meaning, if you feel guilty about something, you will punish yourself by not making more money. So guilty. Oh, you feel guilty by, oh, you want to improve, you want to make more money. Yeah, but why am I gonna feel guilty for that? Then I don't feel you don't feel guilty about somebody who just want to watch Netflix or just want to watch TV or be in the computer and wasting their time. So why you're judging me for wanting to bring a solution to somebody? So guilty. I had that also as an immigrant entrepreneur. We all have it because some immigrants they go to a new country. Oh, you left us. You're different. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you left us. You don't love us anymore. Man, I love you a lot. Like, why are you kidding me? I love you, but I love the country. I love the people and everything. But we're looking for a better future. We're looking for to improve. And some of us we don't live necessarily just for the money. We live for other reasons. Sometimes it's a safety. Sometimes it's a better future for the kids. You know, my parents had to leave. Not necessarily they were not looking necessarily for money. I have an
Mm-hmm.
older sister that has special needs, and they saw in the US a more opportunities for my sister with the special needs that they saw in El Salvador. That's something that they saw, and for me was more safety at that time. I was safety. It was safety. I didn't. Man, I love the country. I love everybody here. I love my friends, but I don't want to die. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to die. I didn't want to die like that. So that was some of the reasons. So we don't necessarily live for money. We live for other reasons.
Mm-hmm. And I believe we don't need money. We need opportunities, and opportunities we can create by your parents coming from the U.S. from El Salvador to the U.S. They created opportunity for themselves and for their kids, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
was it easy? No, it was not easy. They had to go through so many challenges. It was not easy, but they created the future they wanted.
yeah. And I'm forever grateful, forever grateful.
Absolutely,
But be careful
you
with the
bet.
guilty. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I also want to know a little bit about, what was the most challenging part, man? What was the most challenging part in your entrepreneurial life since you started with PBD, you left security company, you guys started and now you're here basically on the other side. I know you're still improving, you're still doing a lot of things that is also challenging for, but what was the most challenging part in your life?
Um, some of them was experience. I never run a business before. I never been in sales. Sometimes it's the language. Sometimes it's the language. The part of the language was a barrier. Language was a barrier. And the idea that Patrick gave me was, you're in America, you need to learn the language. It was never like hey, you know what, feeling sorry for you. Because he
Mm-hmm.
came from Iran too. He spoke Farsi. He spoke different languages. He also spoke German because he was in a refugee camp in Germany. He spoke Farsi and all the languages, right? I don't know if Armenian too, but for him was he never felt sorry. Language was a barrier. Contacts, because I didn't grow up calling my hey dad, listen, which friends do you have that can buy a policy from me? You know, is
Mm.
calling my friends. Can you call the dean over there in the university in Harvard because someone applied for Harvard? It was nothing like it. So we don't have contacts. So we have to create it now. What's the benefit of it? Um, because we don't have the contacts, because we don't have the language, because we don't have the money, we become, in my opinion, we're thick skinned. Immigrants are
Mm.
thick skinned. Are you telling me no? Who cares? I go to the next one. Oh, really? You don't believe I can make it? Watch what we're about to do. So the mindset of so instead of feeling sorry for ourselves, we become stronger. And that's the advantage, right? It's like you go to the gym, or you grow up you grow up poor. You say, man, this is it. This is all I need to do.
Mm.
All I need to do is to go and knock on the door and sell something to that person. And the worst thing that can happen to me, that person will reject me. Are you kidding me? That's all I need to do. That's all I need to do. And that's what most people are afraid of.
Mm.
This is what most people are afraid of, what they sound, and or to do public speaking. You know, I don't care what they think about me. If they have a thick accent, who cares? Patrick does a video. He's in YouTube. The video's on YouTube. I cannot stand that video, but he loves it. It's in YouTube. He had it unlisted because he recorded me. He recorded the first time that I did a public speaking. So Patrick, so embarrassing for me, right? But he loves it. Say, Rodolfo, first time on the stage. I hate that video. And I had hair, and it was different. And I was a little bit overweight. Um, but yeah, it's the part of not being afraid, not worry about what other people think. Um, that part, But challenges, I mean, I can. Sometimes we didn't have money to go eat something, like, seriously, right? So one day, let me give you this story. So one day, uh, we're with Ceci, we're by the parking lot, and I found a $50 bill. So $50 are not like that common, right? So $50 bill. So I didn't find $100. I didn't find $10 or $20. I found a $50 bill. $50 bills are not common. So I found a $50 bill, and I thought it was fake, but it was a real $50 bill. And people say, "What did you do with it?" We want to eat. We want to eat. And I remember going to eat with my wife, and we go to a restaurant because we didn't have that culture of going to
Mm.
restaurants. And we go to this restaurant, and we exactly spend $50 with the tip. With
Wow.
the tip. So I mean, struggling, yeah, a lot, and many of us will relate. If we're an immigrant, we relate with that, with the money part. But
Mhm.
language, contacts, not knowing people, major problem.
Did you always believe that you would make it?
That's a question, right? I don't know. I lie to you if I tell you? Well, let me put it to you like this. I had a good imagination, though.
Mm.
That's if you I might not be the best on doing a lot of stuff, but I always had an imagination. And I imagine stuff. And I imagine having a house, 40,000 square feet home. And I remember seeing, like, the Corvette, right? I remember the first time I saw a Lamborghini. I said, I want to have a Lamborghini. Then the first time I saw a Ferrari, I see myself as a Ferrari. And I drive the Ferrari every day now. Drive Ferrari every day. I come to the office in the Ferrari. And I dream about one day, I come to this place. They invited me to do a meeting, and I come to the financial center in Houston, Texas. It's called Galleria Financial Center. And I go to that meeting to that guy, and I see this dude. He's driving like a Bentley, something like that, or a Rolls. No, he was driving a Rolls. And I see the car parked, and I go into the financial center, and he's there in the meeting, right? And I'm so impressed about this dude. But in my mind I'm not impressed on, oh my gosh, like this, like impressed. No, it's like I'm impressed about, man, one day I want to have an office like this.
Mm.
And that was years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Guess where I have the office now? exactly in the 12th floor in the Galleria Financial Center in Houston.
Wow. Love that.
So it's, I don't know if I don't know if that, because I don't know how to answer that question, because you're not the
Mm-hmm.
first person that asked that question. But do you always do? No, you always have doubts, right? You always have
Mm-hmm.
fears and doubts. Is it really gonna happen? Do I really believe it can happen? But a good imagination helps.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, my imagination is um, so so weird. I want I want buildings for some reason, right? Like if you see a building like this behind me, and I say,
Mm-hmm.
what if I were to buy a couple buildings, like a building, like I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
tower, like a building.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people have buildings, they have the name on the top
Mm-hmm.
of the building, and you're driving on the freeway, you see their name,
Like
a
Trump
Lee,
Tower.
like Trump Tower or a Lee.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
Manouchehri, I don't know.
Right.
Like to see the
Mm-hmm.
Vargas Holdings, and I see in this 40 story building. You know what I mean? And you buy buildings. Why not? This guy
Mm-hmm.
over here in Houston, he bought the Tillman Fertitta. He bought the River Oaks district when all the Hermes stores, Chanel, all the stores. He bought all of it. He bought the entire, like you know how people buy one store. No, he bought the entire, all of them, the entire mall. He bought them. He's a billionaire, and
Mm-hmm.
I dream about imagination, right? Going and buying in a couple if I can buy some part of the beaches right over there in Costa Rica or in El Salvador, where we can put some hotels and casinos and stuff like that, and we can
Mm-hmm.
make it the place to go for everybody, and where everybody goes and have fun and enjoy, like the new Bahamas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The new Aruba, the new stuff like that. Why not? Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
can do it. So
Mm-hmm.
imagination helps. So did I knew I was gonna? No, I lied to you if I tell you, yeah, I always knew. No, but imagination helps. Imagination, imagination. Hey, what if I were to collect Ferraris? Now, I own Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all that kind of stuff, good stuff, phenomenal stuff. What if I were to collect like 50 Ferraris? And you have over there, you have your garage, and everybody comes and they can
Mm-hmm.
see them. That would be pretty cool, right? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Imagination helps.
I love that. I love that. And you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'm not sure if you're familiar
Of
with him
course,
or not. You are,
of
okay.
course, of
He
course.
talks about if you everything exists in the universe, everything, right? Now, if you can imagine it, you can also catapult yourself to that vibration, right? But then what a lot of people do, that it starts with imagination, but what a lot of people do, they sit under a tree, they imagine it, and then they hope that it happens. No, that's only one part of it. Now you have to take massive action, whatever is in your power and beyond, to get yourself there, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
um so that's I believe, and there is still no guarantee that you're going to make it, right?
No, no,
But at
but
least you have to do.
if you knew that if that's true what you're imagining, you will make the call. You know what I mean? You will go
Mhm.
do it. Like we don't. I really believe it. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Mhm.
No, you really. I believe it. No, you don't. No, you don't believe it. If you will believe it, you will go do it. Like if you
Mhm.
knew, like if I tell somebody, listen, man, I have $1 million right now. You believe it? Yeah. Yeah, I believe I can make a million. Yeah, I have $1 million, but you need to take a flight. You need to come to Houston. Let's just say, right?
Mhm.
Would you take it? If you knew
Mhm.
100%, yes, you would
Mhm.
take the flight. You
Mhm.
wouldn't say, hey, maybe how much is the flight? Or can I do it? Or would it be possible? Well, I don't know. You will come and take the flight. You will take
Mhm.
the action. You will take the action, like you said. But yeah, you're right. Most of us we doubt. No, it's not gonna happen. What if not? What if that never happens? The most powerful thing that we have is our imagination.
Mhm.
Most powerful tool or instrument that we have is the our brain, and our brain to use it for imagination, which we're always using it. We're always using our imagination. We're just using it in the negative, right?
Right. Right.
We're using the
Yeah.
negative.
Right.
We're always using our imagination. We're just
Mhm.
using it in the imagining the bad stuff.
Mhm. Because I believe that comes from fear, you know. because we're always afraid of the things that can go wrong. So we just need to flip it. We're already doing the work, man. We're already using the imagination. Now we just need to flip the script and put it on positive stuff.
Yep.
So I saw you posted the other day that you're helping entrepreneurs. Tell us more about that.
Well, I run an agency
Mm-hmm.
with thousands of agents
Mm-hmm.
in over 30 offices. And what I do is once in a while, I pick 5 to 10 people and I personally train them. And I said, not once in a while, very often I do that. And I said, listen, if you do this, I'm going to personally train you because I believe that's the best and fastest way to learn something by using apprenticeship, by
Mm-hmm.
having somebody, by watching somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
I take somebody, regardless of their background, regardless if they have a experience or not, regardless of their age, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of who they are. If they're open, I take a couple of them, I interview them, meet with them, and I tell them, okay, let's go. If you want to learn, let me teach you. And I train them for a couple months, and then they become independent. And if they want to, they go and open their own agencies. So I do that all the time.
Why do you do that?
Because I believe in this. I believe if I can help you, if I can help others to get what they want, I can get whatever I want. Obviously, I didn't invent that. Somebody said it, a guy named Zig Ziglar, right? He says, if I can help as many people I can to get what they want, I can help whatever I can get whatever I want. Um, so it's a great selfish way
Mm-hmm.
to help others, and you're helping yourself because
Mm-hmm.
I know that. I know if I help others to become millionaires, that's my vision. If you ask me, I want to help 1,000 people to make $1 million. That's my major vision. I want to help 1,000 people to make $1 million, at least $1 million. If I can help 1,000 people to have an income, annual income of $1 million, I'm probably going to be making $1 billion, right? So if I can help others, that the same way that somebody did for me, like it was Patrick Bet David, the same way that he helped me, I can help others. Man, we create there is nothing more powerful than that, because then those people are going to help others too. And they're going to remember. The reason why I do what I do is because somebody did it for me.
Mm-hmm. I love that, man. And that's
Mhm.
where I believe, people like yourself separate themselves from the other one that want the basic needs in life, that is, the nice car and the nice homes and everything. And then they stop. And then they stop because it's all about them.
Yeah,
But the moment you flip the coin and you're like, hey, it's not about me any longer, it's also about giving back because someone helped me and someone took me and gave me all the opportunities, and of course I took action. Now let me do it for someone else. Then the sky is the limit, I believe.
excellent. That's right.
So, brother, is there any advice before we wrap up? Is there any advice you have for someone who is thinking about, who is an immigrant, who is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or who already is an entrepreneur, but they want to get themselves to higher levels? What's your advice?
Okay, first to the ones that are not entrepreneur, be careful with the comfort zone. I see so many immigrants. They risk everything. They go to a new place. They leave everything behind. They come and learn a new language. They come without money. Their parents come and everybody, and they settle for a regular 9 to 5. For what? I mean, just to have a
Mm,
nice home and to be able to whatever. I mean, is that the reason why? No. So for me, one is, come on, you're already an entrepreneur by coming to, you're already taking risk. You're already taking risk. So go and take another risk. But Rodolfo, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Give it a try. failed a little bit. That would be my suggestion. Don't stay. Now, I'm not saying to leave your jobs and quit your job. I'm not a big fan of that. No, but try something else outside of it. Try sell something. Sell something. Okay, that would be my advice to the ones that are not entrepreneurs. And for the ones that are already entrepreneurs, start competing. Start competing. One of the things that I learned from Patrick is, yeah, it's okay. You're beating some people, but why don't we go compete at the national level? Why don't we go compete at the international level? So start thinking a little bit bigger. So okay, I'm an entrepreneur, Rodolfo, but I just want to be the number one over here in my small town. No, why don't we go bigger than that? So think big, think bigger. What can happen to you? You messed up. What can happen to you? You become what's the worst thing that can happen if you start competing? Read the story about this guy that he used to sell linen. He used to sell some linen over there in Pennsylvania. And his son used to beg him to his dad, please, dad, also an immigrant, please, dad, come on, we could be like Bed Bath and Beyond. We can be like all these other big companies. We could be like Sears. We can be like that. And he knew he could do it. But he decided not to do it. No, we're going to decide to stay small. So don't do that if you're already an entrepreneur. Let's start thinking bigger. Because these guys, the other guys, are competition. What they have, why they're ahead of us is because they think bigger than us. That's the only reason. They think bigger. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. It's about, I believe the universe is always expanding, and so should we, so should we as human beings always expand and always grow and learn and also give back. Man, that's been a hell of an interview, and you're actually the first person who we had twice on the show. So although it's one episode, but we had you come on twice on the show. I really want to thank you for taking the time, and even a few days later coming back and bringing so much value to our audience. Yeah, man, I definitely look forward to connect with you in person. I can't wait for that. I know it's gonna be a hell of a meeting when we meet in person. I come wherever you are when I'm back in the US. I come visit you and pay the respect that you deserve. So thank you, brother. Thank you
You're
for
awesome,
coming on.
Ali. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate you. And we're going to bring more value to immigrants entrepreneur. What you're doing is amazing, what you're doing for the community. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.